Yeah, so we're at the Hertfordshire Memorial, this memorial dedicated to the officer and men of the 1st Battalion Hertfordshire Regiment who fought in the Great War. And it says at 10:10 on the morning of the 31st of July 1917, around 620 men of the 1st Battalion Hertfordshire Regiment attacked German positions on the Pilkham Ridge, and it was a final objective of the opening day of the 3rd Battle of Ypres. After leaving the Steenbeck River, the battalion came under heavy machine gun and artillery fire as they advanced towards their objectives. This memorial marks the point of their furthest advance of that battalion that day. By midday, suffering heavy casualties, the battalion was forced to withdraw in the face of a fierce enemy counter-attack. Over the next hour, the remnants of the battalion conducted a fighting withdrawal to their starting position of that morning, leaving behind every officer and 75% of other ranks killed, wounded or captured. And it was also here that Jenny's granddad was captured.
That's right, I was on that day.
On that day.
Yep.
So we wanted to come here and just pay our respects to those brave men.
He was hit by machine gun fire.
From here?
Well, could be here, could be here.
Yeah.
There was a counter-attack, wasn't there, by the
Across
Germans
the counter-attack
that way.
here. That's as far as it got.
Yes, I don't know how...
That's where we are.
Yeah, obviously don't know how far he got, but he was hit by machine guns because he suffered all his life with shrapnel in his leg.
Yeah.
And then he was captured, taken to Rosslare Hospital, where I think he was for about 4 months, something like that.
Yeah.
I found some records. And then he was taken to Limburg in Germany, to a prisoner of war camp there, from which I believe he escaped and got back to England. I think he landed at Felixstowe, as far as I can remember. Got back home to Wheatamstead, and they wanted to have a little parade for him, but he didn't want it because his brother had died at Gallipoli, so he just wanted to come home quietly.
So that's where they were.
So when I read the diaries, when they retreated back with the Cambridgeshire Regiment.
Well,
so,
yeah. What was
which
left
were
of
here,
them.
What was left of them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously he was captured with several others. Several others were wounded, killed.
Yeah. Well, you can't see it at the moment, but this field is full of corn at the moment, but it was completely flat and open, obviously.
Yes.
And German machine gun positions, where are we? We're here.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
And over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
A lot happened in just this area. There is a video that someone's made recently, isn't there?
Yeah.
About it. So
Oh,
see if we can find a link for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could see that, but there's a windmill over there, behind that post over there, and that's one of the objectives. It was there. All behind here is all the German line and barbed wire. Yeah. Yeah. There we are. Yeah, just close by is the Canadian Memorial, St. Julian. Canadian Memorial. The statue is called the Brooding Soldier.
Oh.
This is from earlier on in the war. It said this column marks the battlefield where 18,000 Canadians on the British left withstood the German gas attacks. On the 2nd to the 24th of April 2015, 2,000 fell and lie buried nearby. So it says in their first major engagement of the Great War, Canadian soldiers gained international recognition for their courageous and determined defence of Allied positions on the Ypres salient. They faced overwhelming odds, including the first large-scale chlorine gas attacks of the war. In the initial 4 days of battle, the 1st Canadian Division sustained approximately 6,000 casualties, and many lie buried nearby. At home, Canadians took pride in their countrymen while mourning the fallen. This tragedy moved Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae of Guelph, Ontario, to write in Flanders Fields an internationally celebrated poem that continues to symbolise loss and remembrance.
So he wrote that.
Here's the church at Zonnebeck. So we're going right here.
Good lighting.
We're heading for the museum at Passchendaele. We went down there before, didn't we?
It's full of cars.
Sorry?
Full of cars down there.
Yeah. So we're going to the Passchendaele Museum. I think the last time we were here was 2017, and it's really beautiful grounds here, but we'll explore those a little bit later. We're going to go into the museum first, and then we can take Poppy for a walk outside. Yeah, here it is. I think this is the original house, isn't it, that was here. I think it's been rebuilt, obviously, but yeah. Oh yeah, here's the museum. So it's saying the last battle in the Low Countries was the Battle of Waterloo. Yeah. And it's saying about the uniforms there, the Belgian soldier in the blue uniform there, and the French one in their colourful outfits, and a basic German soldier's outfit, officer's outfit. They also said the British were the only ones who had khaki uniforms. They'd found it in previous wars, and they'd soaked their uniforms in mud to blend in better. The Scottish uniform and the French over here. Yeah, home before Christmas. Yeah, Christmas truce, winter 14 to 15.
Exit Nord, exit Süd, sein Sie Ihnen West.
Zonnebeck, Tyne Cot, Passchendaele. British soldiers' uniform of 1917 there. And the German soldiers. Also got some decent boots, haven't they? We're saying about the role of women in the war, obviously found new roles: nurses, train drivers, bus drivers.
On the land, or it's not
on the land, in the land army. Yeah.
in the land army.
Land army and hold the home front. You see, and the blacksmiths. So they were saying here, this is a display about the Belgian army during the final offensive, and played a big part in the final offensive. Actually saying that 1/3 of all the casualties in the Belgian army was during that final offensive. So the pumps used to pump out the tunnels. Also, they were mining under the German lines as well. So by 1917, the British were building what they called deep dugouts, underground shelters engineered by workers of tunnelling companies, specialised miners and tunnelling experts. By the end of the war, the companies had dug more than 370 dugouts in the region, mostly found between 10 metres beneath the surface, and give shelter for about 50 to 2,000 men. And the soldiers lived like moles. Quarters were damp, foul-smelling. Corridors were infested with vermin. But still, at least there were safe places offering some comfort. There is a reconstruction of a deep dugout based on the one found under the church at Zonnebeck. Yeah, these are some of the findings they found in the dugouts. Okay. Been flooded by rising groundwater, which kept out the oxygen, so some of them are in reasonable condition. A display on here shows the dugouts. We actually went under the dugouts in 2017. I don't know if you can do that.
You can now, no.
No, they had to pump them out. They were constantly being pumped out because they're constantly filled with water.
That's quite an experience going down there, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Takes you down into the dugouts. So that's meant to mean flickering candles. I'm going to have to swap hands here. Up. There we go. Oh, we'll do it like that. All right. quite narrow steps. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not my camera that's flickering either here. Ah, good. Duck, got a duck here. Long typewriter. Bunks here. Not much of that you can see either. Another one here. I mean, it feels warm and dry in here. I doubt it was really warm and dry.
More moves there. Sandbags.
Sandbags, yeah, on a rail. You see the railway?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can, but there's a railway in there. Hospital. Oh, that's a bit gruesome, isn't it? Look at some of the pumps in here. You can see how low the tunnels are. I'm having to duck. There they are. Way out. And the kitchen.
That's horrible, isn't it? In there?
Yeah, just sausage hanging up there. Some indescribable porridge or something in there. He's got a carrot in his hand. Display about artillery here. Some of the bigger shells could reach Paris. The Paris cannon, 150 kilo shells. Trench mortars would reach 180 metres. Display all about artillery here. Mortar, French. Oh no, British heavy trench mortar, the Flying Pig. Things there. Yeah, I know. It's saying about the colours on the shells here, that the different colours indicate what's in the shells, you know, whether it's gas or high explosives or shrapnel. Yeah, so the British ones are over here, and the ochre ones that contain shrapnel, designed to shatter into thousands of pieces, and shrapnel everywhere. Whereas the grey ones are gas grenades. Looks like the parachute ones there. Yeah, so the gun is a Krupp howitzer with a trailer. What do they call the trailer? With a limber, that's right, I couldn't remember the name of it. A limber at the back for the ammunition. Well, there's a whole load of weapons in here. There's a periscope rifle. You could shoot it without raising your head above the trenches. Now, this fearsome looking weapon here is an anti-tank gun. That was the first sort of anti-tank weapon there. And that's the Lewis gun, Mark 1, with the drum magazines, carrier bags and ammunition box. The thing here about aerial warfare, a special tunic called the maternity jacket, because of its similarity to maternity clothing. It's started by dropping nail bombs, basically flechettes, to hit ground troops. Just dropped out of the aircraft by hand. At the beginning of the war, aircraft were a bit of a novelty and used for spotting. But by the end of the war, one of the biggest air battles ever in the First World War took place over Zonnebeck, where 100 aircraft were involved. Yeah, automatic weapons here for aircraft. Periscopes, measuring, barrel inspection. And this cabinet's really about the evolution of the weapons during the First World War. Obviously, it started out with clubs and stabbing weapons. Here, rifle grenades, evolution of grenades, more sophisticated rifles, automatic weapons. Australian memories here. New Zealand. A little bit about German history here in the war. Something we probably don't sort of look at, but I never realised there was a revolution in November 1918. So the country slipped into civil war. What I've learnt today is what the spiker was for on the helmet.
Yes.
Did you know?
It's to stop them getting attacked by
Yeah, well, to help prevent them from sword and lance.
as well.
Which is really useful. It did evolve, of course. Sort of wire cutting tools. There's a rifle with a wire cutting tool on it there. Saws and spades. A little bit about the church at Passchendaele. Talking about communication. Good old pigeon. Of course, the carrier dog as well. Obviously, we're up to telephones and radios, of course. Oh, wow. I struggled to get in there. Really narrow. They said this is the German trenches, and they had these little platforms that they'd kneel on to take the shots. So that during the war, obviously the trenches became more elaborate and more complex. Obviously they started out with just foxholes and a few sort of lines of trenches, but became extremely complex.
Look through there, can't
Periscope.
A lot of barbed wire.
Yeah, you can see through there. Also saying how dangerous these peepholes were, because obviously the enemy were watching the peepholes. This will be a sniper's plate. Another one there. Yeah. Quite uneven, these boards, aren't they? This was a mortar post, a depot of reconstruction of archaeological find near Pilken. Concrete blocks are from the same excavation. Structure probably served as a storage facility for mortars, small pieces of artillery of a simple firing pipe, ideal for lobbing shells at close range. It's a communication trench, so you see a lot of hazel and wicker on these type of communication trenches. Duck boards are laid in A-frames. So wasn't your granddad a runner?
Mm,
so he would have been familiar with the communication trenches.
That's right, yeah. Yes, he was.
Because he was also short, wasn't he?
Yes.
That has a big bonus if you're short
It
in the trenches.
Yeah, because look.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was standing here, I'll get my head shot off. What have we got here then?
Shells with corrugated iron, 1916 to 17.
Yeah. Yeah, so if they were under being shelled, I suppose it's as good a place as any to hide, isn't it? So this is a British connecting trench. Yeah, so like the communication trench, the fire trench uses A-frames, but have been shortened at the parapet so they don't obstruct the step. And note the niches built into the high trench walls between the jute bags. Loose hand grenades might be stored in them, and such niches are handy for easy access. So again, like a little shelf that you get up onto. Fancy sticking your head up there. God, yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to be standing up here.
No, only
No.
too tall, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes, this is a shelter, baby elephant this was called. A corrugated iron used at the end of 1915, known as elephant because of the large arch. Reminiscent of an elephant's back, easy to transport and assemble. Okay. Another one, elephant's back. Okay. It's quite dodgy in here, isn't it?
I can't imagine his Grandad doing much running on this.
Well, I suppose you would. You'd have heavy boots on, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I suspect a lot of this would have just been mud anyway. Don't think you'd have the duck boards, would you? I don't know.
No.
Possibly. So, this is the American temporary house, 1922. Fiat's family built this American temporary house in 1922 in nearby Bethlehem, made in pine, which is not very durable. Nevertheless, they lived in the house till 1978. 2013, then a protected building brought to Zonnebeck. The facade, which was destroyed by a bombing in World War II, was constructed at that time. They're just saying on the audio guide that the Americans only really got into the war in April 17, but the amount of aid they sent to the Belgian people was phenomenal, and they've got these things like this because basically the Belgians were starving by the end of the First World War. Thank you. Just talking about the legacy of the war. The end of the war, thousands were missing, trapped in POW camps, lying wounded in hospitals. People didn't know whether the survivors would return. Some organisation providing care for veterans and their families, and at the same time people were trying to get their lives back to normal. Commonwealth Graves Commission, responsible for all the British cemeteries, aren't they? Yeah. Over, what's it say? Passchendaele New British Cemetery is one of almost 200 Commonwealth Graves sites built in Belgium after the war, just in Belgium.
Nana's brothers, two brothers, they came to Belgium and they worked in the cemeteries, and I imagine as gardeners.
Yeah.
They were too young, in the war itself.
For the war, yeah. Display here is saying that even in the grounds of the museum here, they know of at least 170 Allied troops that were found here buried. It's called the Land of the Dead. All sorts of displays here, different people who died. This is about George Forshaw, who came from British Guyana. brief career in law, and he moved to Canada for health reasons, joined the army there. He was killed by German shell fire while laying duckboards. He was initially buried in the eastern part of the Chateau grounds, now lies in Perth China Wall Cemetery. Plot 5, Row J, Grave 3. William Bruford, gunner from Taunton, England. Died in Zonnebeck, 3rd of the 11th, 1917. Sorry? Two others, yeah. John Hurst, driver from Bradford. Died at the same time. John Tabbitt from Selkirk. 3 artillerymen died in the ruins of the church at Zonnebeck. They were manning howitzers, first buried to what remains of the pre-war orangery, now lying in White House Cemetery in Ypres. Minor Aiken survived the war, found a small statue of an angel amid the rubble of the church and kept it for the rest of his life. There's also a house here as well, isn't there? Just gonna have a little walk. Come on, puppy. We're gonna have a little walk round. There are some memorials and various gardens to different nations who fought here. There's also an 8-inch howitzer here. The largest piece is to be put at the front line. I think when we first came here they'd only just planted these. So let's go and have a look, see how it's grown up after 5 years. Yeah, they were just, I think we just had that, the structure. So this is the Jardin Memorial Garden. Okay. Yeah, very nice. Come on. Assume this was a crater here. Or a double crater, probably. This is the US one. A bit difficult to see, but there are images on these boards, and they're a little bit washed out. Yeah, quote there, President Woodrow Wilson. Belgium, the whole world will agree, must be evacuated and restored without any attempt to limit the sovereign which she enjoys in common with all other free nations. A golden poppy. It's grown up quite a lot. This is the Australian memorial. It's very difficult to read these signs as they've faded quite a bit. And it may be that everything will be clear when we meet the diggers beyond the vale, and we'll find the reason for Bosieres and we'll know the purpose of Passchendaele. Oscar Walters. Go on. So this is the New Zealand garden. Yeah. Okay. The harps of old which once were played on yonder willow trees are fixed, for his screams are on the wind relayed, the blood is with the deluge mixed. This is a German one. Deutsche Passchendaele. Okay. But yeah. Okay. It says the roses are a symbol of the bloodshed and transience of life during the First World War. Okay. Passchendaele, it was written in blood. So here's the Belgian one. Varro, pourquoi? Varro, why? There's a Maori carving here, and it says, long before man set foot on this sacred ground, the gods of war and peace fought hand to hand to govern the earth. Interred in soil rest the weary, embedded in our hearts rest the young soldiers. From the uttermost ends of the earth, our forebears were called to war in 1914. Today we arrive under the veil of peace. We arrive to remember our loved ones who fought and whose lives were lost at many sites during the First World War, including here at Passchendaele. So the carving was carved over a 4-year period by master carvers and their students in Rotorua, New Zealand. A little bit about the different gods there. Tankaroa, goddess, god of the sea. This is the largest British cemetery in Flanders. I'm trying to remember where we parked.
In here, to the left.
Oh, that's right.
Got lost.
Yeah.
They joined up with the Bedfordshire
Regiment.
The next county.
Yeah.
Became members of that.
So that's right. Yeah.
James Henry Wade, age 20.
It's very moving here, pulling out all the names.
Harry Pounder, age 22. Francis Joseph Goodall, age 23.
The most moving thing about this is reading out all the names.
William Kerr Chalmers, age 19.
The soldiers.
Age 24.
38 nationalities.
Frederick Hugh Baldwin Falcon, age 25. Bernard Tennant, age unknown. G.S. Waterman, age unknown.
Yeah, we just discovered Poppy's not meant to be in there, so.
Victor Francis.
You didn't know that though, Pops, did you?
No, she's very good in there. She's
Yeah.
coming out sound.
Well, here we are. This is Tyne Cot Cemetery. The largest British cemetery. In Flanders, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how Sue got in there, but. Yeah, so 12,000 buried here. We said 8,500 of them are, we don't know their names. It just says soldier of the Great War, known unto God. Soldier of the Great War, the Lancashire Fusiliers, known unto God. So it says this was the Tyne Cot blockhouse captured by the 3rd Australian Division, 4th of October 1917. So they're still finding bodies, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
They're still finding shells and ordnance. It's just the ages of them, isn't it? They're 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 21-year-old. The oldest I've seen so far was 29. I mean, it's the second or third time we've been here. I think it's second time.
Only second time.
Second time we've been here. But it's difficult to overstate how moving this is. Just all these young men. Take a piece of ground. And yet we still do war. As if this wasn't, reminder enough that it's a really bad idea. Recorded the names of British officers and men who fell in the Ypres salient, but to whom the fortune of war denied the known and honoured burial given to comrades in death. Yeah, just like the men in Gate, the names. Different regiments, stretching all the way round, all the way over there, and over there, and in here as well, all the way round. I just stopped at the Lancashire Fusiliers here, and there's an Earnshaw W there. I don't know if it's any relation, but it's possible.